Right, this came from somewhere else. I mean, as bizarre as that is to believe, but I mean, it's there. I saw it. I know what the current state of the art is in physics, and it can't be done.
Deep, dark, and soul-crushing. That's what it feels like in the ocean at depths of 7,000 and more. Yet, in these impossible depths lie some of the greatest marvels on the Earth. Navy explorers were lucky to find one of such marvels during a routine dive in the Antarctic. The discovery was so mind-blowing that even the well-renowned expert and alien theorist Bob Lazar couldn't hold back his concerns. What did the Navy find while diving in the Arctic? What significance does this discovery hold for deep-sea exploration and our knowledge of the oceans? Should we be concerned like Bob Lazar? Join us in this video as we explore what the Navy saw while diving in the Arctic. Our oceans have an endless potential for discovery. Covering about 1/3 of the Earth, it's safe to say that waters contain a lot more mind-bending stuff than our land. However, mankind wasn't born to swim, and even though we've developed several tech innovations that make swimming and deep-sea exploration seem like a walk in the park, we still have our limits. The ocean, which is highly significant to the circle of life on Earth, has far too many secrets to reveal. Most of the fascinating tales of legends like krakens and leviathans had their setting in the sea. It makes you wonder if humanity should pause space exploration to focus on deep-sea exploration instead. Well, it would seem that many people are getting the idea, as teams of explorers have begun venturing into risky territories like Antarctica and the deep blue sea. Space exploration agencies also seem to be tagging along, as NASA and some notable figures like Elon Musk have begun sponsoring some deep-sea exploration projects. These projects employ special equipment and even robots, since it'll be impossible for a human to dive at these extreme depths without getting crushed by underwater pressure. One such instrument that has proven very vital to deep-water exploration, especially in the Arctic regions, is IceFin. IceFin is what you would call the underwater rover. Just like the Mars rover was created to explore Mars, so has NASA created the IceFin to explore the deep. The device is shaped like a torpedo and is equipped with several features like HD cameras, laser and sonar systems, altimeters, and other sensors for measuring temperature, pressure, salinity, pH, and dissolved organic matter in water. One unique thing about this instrument is that it can be customized to meet the needs of any mission. It can go down to depths of about 3,200 feet. Plus, it has the option of being remotely controlled or roaming free on its own. IceFin is one of the many underwater rovers to come. And so, there's no doubt that we'll soon find more and more discoveries, especially in difficult locations like the Arctic. But you see, even without the IceFin, explorers have been able to make some pretty mind-blowing discoveries in the deep. And some of these discoveries appear to be alien. One such alien-like creature is the isopod. This creature at first looks like an oversized insect. In fact, it looks very much like a pillbug, a common insect found in gardens. However, unlike their tiny land cousins, isopods are as large as basketballs when rolled up and possess strong, armored exoskeleton. Plus, they can only be seen in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, up to 7,000 feet. These creatures swim in a weird way, using some sort of flippers on their underside to propel themselves through the water. They can also crawl on the seabed to hunt for prey. Thanks to its armored body, this creature has no problem surviving the crushing pressures of the deep sea. The armor also protects from predators and aids the creature in burrowing into the sea floor. Here, it lies in waiting for prey or hiding from predators, blending into the surrounding. Isopods are scavengers. Their large reflective eyes naturally adapt to the surroundings, so they can easily spot food. They'll eat anything, from a dead carcass to a live shrimp. Food is scarce in these depths, so it's little surprise that these creatures aren't picky eaters. They usually eat large amounts of food that would be able to last them a long while, since there's no telling when the next meal will come. But these tough creatures have evolved to survive even without food. Some captured specimens have survived for up to 5 years without food. As odd as these creatures are in physical features and behavior, they're just one of the many mysterious things you'll find in the deep that don't seem natural. An even more shocking discovery that has been strongly tied to aliens is this strange underwater structure that looks like an alien spaceship. A group of explorers made this shocking discovery in the Baltic Sea. It has since been named the Baltic Sea UFO. Now, you'd agree that the last place anyone would expect to find a UFO is in the sea. And so you can imagine the buzz this discovery caused on social media when these explorers shared photos of their discovery. The Baltic Sea is an inland sea in northern Europe. Being an arm of the Atlantic Ocean, it is one of the largest brackish waters in the world. It is enclosed by nations like Denmark, Finland, Germany, Sweden, and Russia. This UFO was found at a depth of about 91 meters in these brackish waters, and its features were just mind-blowing. First, coming to size, the strange round object had a height of about 13 meters with a circumference of about 18 meters. From afar, it looks like a mushroom rising from the seabed, but up close, you'd notice the several lines and patterns drawn on it and the many cracks at its top, which seemed filled with black goo. This disc-shaped object relatively measures twice the size of a football field and also possesses what seems like pavements or platforms protruding from it. These pavements go up to about 300 meters and are quite mysterious. When this discovery came to light in 2011, many theories started flying about. Some called it an underwater Stonehenge. Others said it was a relic from an ancient civilization. But a major conspiracy at the time was that this object was of alien origin. Several experts like Bob Lazar pretty much believed this conspiracy. Bob Lazar is one of the well-known experts on aliens and extraterrestrials. According to him, he was once hired by the government to reverse engineer alien technology during the 1980s. Bob's stories and conspiracy theories seemed false in the ears of the public for a long time. But the recent court hearings by the US Congress have considerably backed up some of his stories and claims. Thanks to witnesses from those hearings, Bob Lazar now has a strong alibi that proves the US government was involved in reverse engineering alien technology. And so, being very enlightened on the matter, it's only natural that Bob Lazar would be very interested in this discovery. It had so many characteristics and features that made it seem highly unearthly. One feature that made this object suspicious was how certain electrical instruments, like satellite phones and sonar instruments, failed to function properly when the men were close to it. This trait has been noticed in UFOs and alien technology. There always seems to be some sort of technical interference. Could this be an alien ship? If yes, why is it here? Were they hiding, or did they simply crash into this sea? These and many more are the questions the science community and concerned citizens asked when this discovery came to light. Since this epic discovery, several teams of archaeologists, divers, and marine experts have investigated the underwater site, but no clear answer has been given ever since. At first, the researchers came up with a theory that a Nazi ship or bunker sank to the sea bottom. However, later investigations suggested that it was nothing more than a unique geologic formation that dates back millions of years ago. But alien conspiracy theorists don't buy into these explanations. The main reason many do not believe this object is ordinary is because of the legend surrounding this body of water. You see, the Baltic Sea is littered with wreckage of several ships and artifacts from bygone eras. Some stories even suggest the waters swallowed up an entire human settlement in its formation. Besides, legends of strange sea monsters and ghost ships have always trailed these waters. Most of these tales were dutifully spread by sailors and locals. Although most of these tales could have been the work of imagination, things like the Baltic Sea UFO make you wonder if the stories are true. Certainly, several mysteries lie in the deep blue sea, at depths we can never even venture into. One such mystery is this creature that the Navy spotted while diving in the Arctic. Navy dives like these are periodical missions undertaken by the Navy for several purposes. It could be for studying marine life, testing new equipment, or investigating the geological formations below. This fateful mission was supposed to be a routine exploration mission. But things took a dive when one of the sailors found something strange in the water. A team member had begun exploring a deep trench when he saw something odd in the distance. It had pale white skin. At first, he thought it was a seal, so he signaled his comrades to come to see what he had found. But as they approached, they came to a scary awakening. What seemed like a seal turned out to be a strange creature with a humanoid shape, pale skin, and flippers that seemed more like hands. The creature moved gracefully through the water, unlike any other creature the men had ever seen. Even from a distance, these men knew they had stumbled upon something completely extraordinary. And so, following their intuition, they attempted to get closer to the creature to take a clear shot. However, the smart creature got wind of their intentions and quickly swooped down to the dark, deep waters below, vanishing out of sight. The men were left utterly confused and in doubt about what they just saw. After returning to base and sharing their story, several experts started trying to wrap their heads around what these men just saw. Certainly, no creature known to man fits this description, and so the only plausible theory at first was that they had just encountered an alien or humanoid species. Some other researchers started tracing what these men saw to some ancient Japanese folklore creatures called ningens. Ningens are strange humanoid creatures believed to inhabit the deep, dark parts of the ocean. They are very shy creatures and wouldn't hesitate to disappear once spotted. They're usually about 40 feet long, and possess mermaid-like tails and other weird features. The smart, elusive nature of these beings makes it a challenge to capture them on camera. On top of that, they always only come out at night. If what these men found happens to be a ningen, it would mean that the Japanese legend is true, and these underwater humanoid beings do exist. It would also bring the possibility that several such beings are lurking deep below the waters of the Arctic. The Arctic is one of the least explored locations on Earth due to the bone-shattering cold here. Even when scientists explore this region, they never go so deep. One of the major problems with exploring Arctic regions is the ice. The problem becomes even more pronounced in regions like Antarctica, where the polar ice cap is extremely thick. But perhaps, if explorers can dig really deep, they'll find some interesting stuff down there, like the whole ecosystem that was found earlier beneath the ice shelf in 2022. This discovery, courtesy of Elon Musk, was a true game-changer to the scientific community. A team of explorers had drilled 500 meters through the ice to get to the underground water. Next, they sent a camera attached to a pole down the hole and into the vast body of water below. These men had no idea whether they would find anything down there. You see, the water at that depth is not only very dark, but very cold too. Scientists believe that as you go further down the ocean, fewer and fewer organisms exist. This is because food sources become more scarce, so only creatures that have developed a survival mechanism can endure and thrive in deep-sea conditions. But what these explorers found was completely shocking. As soon as the camera slipped into the waters below, it was greeted by a swarm of creatures. They were so many that they were blocking the camera's feed, and the men couldn't make sense of the footage at first. But as the swarm began to dissipate, they saw them clearly for the first time. It was an underwater colony. The swarm consisted of tiny crustaceans that looked very much like shrimps. This was quite a fascinating discovery, and these men couldn't wait to share it with the rest of the world. In fact, they started jumping for joy since they never really expected to find anything down there. All the scientific community had known before this discovery was that there was a network of lakes and rivers beneath the ice shelf of Antarctica. The question of whether or not biological life forms were thriving at these depths was still in debate. This new finding cleared all doubts, proving that life exists in every part of the Earth, even beneath the unforgiving ice. This fact was further verified when members of the British Antarctic Survey, BAS, found another astonishing discovery in the waters below Antarctica. They saw some alien-like creatures that looked like living sponges. The harsh environment and extreme temperatures and pressures couldn't stop these creatures as they happily moved around, minding their business. Scientists couldn't help but marvel at this discovery, and the question of what these guys consume for breakfast and dinner remains unanswered. There's also the question of how long these creatures have thrived in these cold, dark, icy waters. You see, the BAS team also found a rock covered with microorganisms when they decided to poke a little further. They found what scientists call a microbial mat. They also found some tiny creatures that looked very much like jellyfish. What if all the higher forms of marine life evolved from these ancient, deep-water creatures and microorganisms? Finding all this interesting stuff made scientists hungry for samples. Without actual samples of the creatures, it'll be nearly impossible to figure out what they eat, how they survive, and how long they've been thriving at those crazy depths. The most plausible theories marine experts have come up with are that these creatures get food from methane seeps or glacial melts, or perhaps food debris drifts to them from other faraway parts of the ocean. But there's no proof for all this. Scientists must get up close and personal with these creatures to find out what makes them tick. Without such knowledge, there'll be no way to know how best to preserve and protect these species from going extinct. Our world is fast changing, and thanks to several factors like global warming, the ice in the Arctic region is melting slowly. It's only a matter of time before the ice shelf of Antarctica gives way. When that happens, no one knows what will be the fate of these creatures, whether or not they'll be able to stand the heat. However, one good thing that can come from a melted ice cap is the freedom to explore the icy waters as we please. Drilling through ice is a slow, back-breaking work. And so, with the ice gone, explorers can finally dive in as they please and poke into the vast world of the Antarctic. Who knows what we'll find? Perhaps some alien-like creatures like the Ningens, or maybe another underwater UFO. Although we may have to wait long for the polar ice caps to melt, we can always trust whistleblowers and experts to reveal facts and details of any alien or UFO sightings. Whistleblowers and experts like Bob Lazar are why most alien conspiracy theories thrive. Bob Lazar once exposed a hidden U.S. research base called Area 51. It was at this location he had been hired to conduct his experiments on reverse engineering alien tech. He revealed that this base is where Americans or the rest of the world can find actual aliens. Being a man of reputation, many people believed Bob, and some even attempted to organize and storm the location. But Bob Lazar advised against it, saying that the last time someone attempted to infiltrate Area 51, he was shot. He also mentioned that his recruitment days were about 40 years ago, so the government may have moved the base elsewhere. It seemed like the alien community wouldn't heed Bob Lazar's words. The movement kept gaining momentum until something shocking happened. The U.S. Air Force gave an official statement, warning anyone and everyone to stay away or risk getting killed. An official comment from a spokeswoman said, "Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed forces. The U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets." To some, this was a sound warning to prevent unnecessary disturbance that could disrupt training sessions. But to some others, this is just a strategy by the Air Force to deter individuals from poking their noses and finding out the real truths about this top-secret base. One thing we can be certain of, though, is that humanity has just about the same chance of discovering extraterrestrials in our oceans as we do in space. The challenge, however, lies in navigating the deep, vast ocean amidst all its terrors and bone-crushing pressure. Already, we have waves of nasty deep-sea monsters like sharks and anglerfish, but experts believe that worse creatures are lurking in deeper depths. And so, even if the possibility of alien encounters is ruled out, deep-sea exploration still poses a major risk to life and equipment. Right now, about 80% of the world's ocean remains unexplored. Until we can find a way to withstand the deadly pressure and creatures at the ocean's depths, we may never really find out the full extent of the mysteries that lie within. Thank you for watching another episode of Voyager. While you are still here, click on the video on your screen to see more mind-blowing videos like this one.